Hey everybody, welcome back. Whiskey Shaman Podcast. I think I'm going to quit saying that because you already know. Anyway, it's good to hear from y'all. We're going to do a little bit of housekeeping up front, probably 5 minutes. And then we're going to get into some of the blessings that I've had over the past couple weeks, months, whatever. And so this is whiskey related. It's not so much about whiskey process or anything like that. It's more about the whiskey scene, which is cool as well. All right, let's get into it. Recording this on Passover, day before Easter. And it's got me feeling a little bit spiritual, a little thinking about a lot of things. I'm not going to make this a spiritual podcast. There's not going to be any of that. I'm your guide to the spirit world, aka liquor, not trying to be a minister or anything. So take that for what it is. But it's got me thinking a lot, and I think about the blessings that I have had in my life. I've been blessed to have a beautiful family, healthy family, a wife who supports me 3,000%, loves me unconditionally even when I screw up everything in my life. I have kids that are awesome. I have family that love me, stuff like that. But I also have a job, unfortunately, the dreaded day job, right? That is enabling me to do some of these things that, I wouldn't be able to do if I didn't have the financial means to do them. Like take off of work, and being self-employed, that helps a lot because I'm able to kind of gauge my schedule around that. So I really, from the bottom of my heart, thank everybody who's been listening. The channel has grown exponentially in the past 2 weeks. I mean, good Lord, and it's going to go in tune with a lot of what I'm fixing to talk about. I just thank everybody that's given help, guidance, words of wisdom on this, prayed for me, whatever it was. I just really appreciate everything that everybody's doing for me, which I know it's hard for people to say that, talk about things that people have done for you, because it's very, it sounds kind of selfish, I guess, in some way, like having everybody do things for you. But being the type of person I am, I don't know. I just I try to do everything myself and not have help and not have people, reaching out to me and stuff like that. So I don't know. Even just small critiques. I know by now, if you guys have listened to any of the other episodes, episode 3 just dropped. Just to let you know. By the time you hear this one will have dropped too. But that was kind of stupid. Anyway. Episode 1 was horrible. You could barely hear it. I almost thought about re-recording it, but I'm like, this is a journey for me, so I'm just going to let it ride. I'm going to let it ride, and you're going to see me every time exponentially get better and better at this, because it's kind of awkward talking to yourself, but then talking to an audience that hears you as well. So it's really cool. It's really fun, and I appreciate all you people out there that are listening. I appreciate all the support and the feedback and the love, and I love you all greatly. All right. See, look, I'm way under what I was going to say, 5 minutes. So moving into the meat and taters of it. And if you guys don't know, I'm a complete goofball, so just you're gonna have to get over that. Okay, where do we start? Let's start with, I've been into whiskey for a long time, as you guys have probably already figured out. I was talking to a guy, one of my buddies, Jesse Wilson. He does the Still It channel on YouTube. He's from New Zealand, coolest guy in the world. Anyway, this is not a plug for him, but go watch Still It, it's fun. He just, in New Zealand, it's legal to home distill, and he just distilled Cadbury eggs and the chocolate covered marshmallow eggs, as like what he calls a mean spirit. Anyway, it's super fun. But he turned me on to this guy named Alan Bishop, and he is the head distiller of Spirits of French Lick in Indiana. And I got in contact with him, and I was really liking what he was doing. He was making an absinthe recipe and all kinds of stuff, and I was just really interested in his process and stuff. So I emailed him and reached out to him, and I didn't know this, but he did a podcast. And at first, it was I wouldn't call it paranormal, like a spiritual podcast, but it wasn't really like denominational, I guess you could say. So it was really cool. So I reached out to him to ask the question, and I said, hey, if you need somebody to talk on your podcast, I would be more than happy. I've had a couple incidences, and he's like, yeah, bro, come on. And I'm like, really? Well, I didn't really, because he's kind of a big deal in the the whiskey industry, and I'm like, oh crap, okay. So I go on his podcast, which is If You Have Ghost, You Have Everything. Strange name, right? I know. But so basically what he does is I'm not going to do that with this podcast, but like he talks about spirits inside like distilleries and people of the distilling community and the spirits that go around it. It's really, really niche-y, but really cool. And so, this has been probably 2.5 months now from the recording of this, obviously. And I went on there, talked to him and his wife, and just kind of give him my story, of everything that happened to me. I'm not going to tell you what that is, because if you want to hear about it, go to his channel. He's on Spotify and iTunes and stuff like that too. So If You Have Ghosts, You Have Everything. It's You Have No Power Here with the Whiskey Shaman. It's obvious. You can see it. But then after we were fixing to be done, he asked me. He has another podcast, and I knew of it, but I didn't really listen to it a whole lot, only because I have so many things that I do. I'm like, I don't know, like I could listen to 800 podcasts a day, and then, I would never get any work done. So, it was called Distillers Talk. And he's like, I'd really love for you to come on there and talk about the sommelier stuff and talk about because I'm Jesse from Still It's Mod on his Facebook page. So I kind of go through the people coming in there and make sure they're not being trolls and stuff like that, and boot them out if they are. And have developed a relationship with a lot of the people on there. And he wanted me to talk about that community and stuff like that. Cool. I said, yeah, I'm a whiskey guy. I'll come on there and talk. So probably a month later, I ended up going on to Distillers Talk and talked to Alan and Christy, and we talked for a while about all that stuff and more that I won't get into. Again, you got to go listen to Distillers Talk with me. Not that I'm trying to plug any of these people. I am. Because they're good people, and they're out there. It's very niche. Everything that everybody's doing is very niche. So if you're into kind of the paranormal, esoteric, go to If You Have Ghosts. If you're into distilling, like the backdoor side of distilling, like the terminologies and the him talking shop with distillers and stuff like that, then go to Distillers Talk. Christy is a bourbon steward as well, so she's very knowledgeable in whiskey and stuff like that. They talk a lot about absinthe and gin, and so they're not just talking about whiskey, so it's kind of cool to hear the different processes and stuff like that they do. Talk to a lot of fledgling distilleries and stuff like that. Anyway, went on there. It was super cool. And then this whole time, that's kind of what leads me up to this podcast that I've now started. Like there's so much stuff out there. There's so many people out there that have a story. And why can't we all tell our own story, right? Why can't we all just say what's on our heart? And so, like, this podcast for me is not only a way for me to give you guys the information that I've been given, that I've been blessed with. You know, we're talking about blessings. I've been blessed with this information. It's a way for me to kind of work through all this stuff in my head, and visualize it and have it not on paper but online, to where if somebody else is going through the same thing, I'm not going to say it's therapy, but it's therapeutic. If you're thinking about a podcast, if you're thinking about this, like, you can take it as big as you want. You can do whatever you want. I'm thinking about now doing, some video stuff and trying to do video chats with people and stuff. Anyway, we're not talking about that today. Sorry. I'm getting off topic, which they don't call me Ramble for nothing. Sorry, I had to get a drink. But so I went on Distillers Talk, great people. And of course, when you go on other people's podcasts, like I'm a pro, whatever. When you go on other people's podcasts, they always say, where can people find you, and what's your website and stuff like that. And I always tell them, you can find me on whiskeybusinessfbg.com if you want to do a personal tasting, but you guys have heard it. You can find me at the _whiskey shaman on Instagram, Facebook. Now I'm on YouTube. YouTube for me, I'm doing shorts and stuff now. I'll probably, if I do podcast video or recordings with other people in the industry or whatever, I'll put that up on YouTube or something like that. But I'm not going to be, I don't know, I say I'm not going to be doing videos and stuff, but who knows. Texas Whiskey Fest is coming up soon, and we'll see what happens. Anyway, back to that. So from Distillers Talk and from If You Have Ghosts, I was able to reach out to some other people, in the industry. And that's kind of that's not why I was going on there. I was just going on there to hang out, shoot the shit, whatever. But like, these people, then they reach out to me, and like, they're following the things that I do, and I'm like, I'm not influential at all. Like, I'm a dude, you know what I mean? I'm not anything big besides my belly. No. I'm working on that too, you guys. Come on. Anyway, so all of this happened. Everything's great. So I got in contact with another podcast, which I've been following for a long time. Really good guys. And I was like, I wonder if they would want me to come on. Here's the issue, though. There's a big issue with this. I hate to say issue. There's a caveat, I guess. They are not. They have nothing to do with whiskey, distilling, beer, nothing. They are a political podcast, and I hate to say political. They're three dudes talking about stuff, current events, things like that, which, I'm not political at all, and I'm not going to be, especially on this platform. All the things that have happened in the past few years or whatever, there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot of news. There's a lot of things out there to talk about. And that's why podcasting has blown up. You know what I mean? There's people all over the place doing podcasts, and they're literally just doing, CNN videos and, knocking it out of the park. Anyway, these guys are giving their opinions, and of course, everybody has their opinion, and that's fine. They're all wrong, obviously, because we have no idea what's going on in this world. So I reached out to them, and they reached back to me, and they were like, dude, that's awesome. Let's do it. And I said, what? Seriously? Okay. And we're talking, this is a big, for me, this is a big podcast. Like, they have quite a few followers. They have quite a few people listening every week to their stuff. And I'm like, oh, wow. Okay. So it's, like I said, it's three guys. And the name of the podcast is Pardon My American, right? And, like kind of like Pardon My French, but it's Pardon My American. Really catchy on the name. But it's three guys, and they're from, Washington State. And two of them, Dave and Chris, moved to Texas. And they got set up with the Drinking Bros, if you've ever heard of them. They got set up with them, and they're in their studio, which the Drinking Bros studio is about an hour and a half, maybe a little more away from where I'm at. So I was like, dude, that would be perfect, Well, Greg, the other member, he is still in Washington. Well, come to find out, he was coming to Texas just to hang out, do some podcasts with them, do the thing. And they were going to talk shop and talk business. And obviously when you're remote podcasting with people, like, you don't get to see them face to face and hang out. Like, they're buddies, they've been friends for a long time. Two of them were in a band together, they just wanted to hang out. And so I kind of felt like I was butting in, getting into their dude time to hang out together. But they were all about it. And I was like, cool, yeah, me too. So I'm recording this, like I said, on Passover. So yesterday, which would have been Good Friday, I actually went to the Drinking Bros studio and sat down with them, and we recorded a podcast. I'm still in the works on how I'm going to get that to everybody, because on Friday they do, it's like a Patreon exclusive podcast. So you have to be a Patreon member or whatever, which I get, like talking shop with everybody, the 3 different podcasts I've been on now, talking shop with everybody. I'm like, this is a lot of work for nothing, for no, you're wasting a lot of time and energy and your own money, and you want to get some of that back. So I totally understand what Patreon is and what it does, and who knows, I'm not saying I will have one in the future if this thing blows up and I end up having to do this a little more and more, because I like this. I feel like this is fun. Hopefully it's good content for y'all. Anyway, so they said it's going to be for Patreon. And I was like, okay, cool. Which they have a, not a super large Patreon, but a large enough Patreon to get out there. Well, I was in studio, right? So when you go in studio on a podcast, like you come into my studio, yeah, you don't want to do that. Get out of my studio. Yeah, it's like literally I'm sitting in a chair with my microphone on a bucket. It's like this is the white trash studio here. Anyway. I don't know. I don't even know what to call it. It's the shed. Those who know. Anyway, so like this is a full-on studio, but like it's a man studio, so it's like the Drinking Bros are sponsored by Hard AF Hard Seltzer, and so there's like literally a pallet of Hard AF in the corner. Like it has a weird smell of like man butt, and it's. It was really, once you get in there, you're like, oh, you see this, grandiose thing that people, when you're looking on a screen or on YouTube, and you're like, oh man, they got a nice set. And then you get to see behind the curtain, and you're like, wow, it kind of smells weird in here, It was really cool. And that's the first thing Greg said when I walked in the door. He goes, sorry about the smell, man. I was like, bro, it's fine. Believe me, my son's room smells just as bad. So anyway, so the other thing is, Dave and Chris, the 2 guys that are in Austin, they do another YouTube channel called Pardon My Reaction. And what they do is they react on like music videos, and they did a couple of movie intros and stuff like that. But they, they react on like these new songs that are coming out. And, excuse me, they, one of the things they are really into like heavy metal music, obviously, and because they were in a band and stuff like that, so they like really dig into that. But they've done songs for like Taylor Swift and Morgan Wallen and all of these. Well, they said, hey, do you want to sit in and comment on these videos. And I'm like, sure, I mean, I got nowhere to go, And so we did the video for NF called Happy. NF, I think he's a rapper, but this song wasn't really as rappy, it was a little, it had some good lines, and it was kind of depressing. The song itself is kind of depressing. In the end, it turned out fine, but like, the video was pretty depressing. So we reacted on that, and then right after that, we reacted on Linkin Park. Was it Massive? I think is they. As if you don't know, Linkin Park is a rock and roll band that the lead singer died a number of years ago from suicide, from depression, unfortunately, and so they found some old tapes or old recordings, and they're releasing them now, and so we kind of reacted on that, and of course, it was a little sad. So I was like, oh, this is bringing me down here. So the whole reason I went to Pardon My American was to do a whiskey tasting for them. That's what the whiskey shaman does, right? So I'm like, cool, let's go. So I didn't really ask them. And this might be to my detriment, but it wasn't. Luckily, it wasn't. Luckily, I'm, know what I'm doing. I didn't tell them. I said when I talked to them on the message, I was like, hey, we're going to do Texas whiskeys. And they were like, yeah, whatever, whatever you have. So I come up there and the issue was, I can talk to people about whiskey all day long. You meet me in public, we'll talk whiskey for an hour until my wife says we got to go. I can talk it all day long. The issue is, like I'm talking to you right now with a microphone, headphones on, try and do that, conversate to other people while watching the screen of yourself talking, right? And they were doing a live stream at the same time, and so they had people from the Patreon commenting at the same time. So I'm like, what am I? So like, I'm trying to make eye contact with the guys. I'm trying to make eye contact with the camera so they can see me. Whoever's watching can see me. And I'm also trying to read the dang comments. And I'm like, oh my God. I was more nervous about that. I was like, okay, we need to do one or the other. So I kind of took my focus off the comments because they were all being super cool. And, they, I don't know if I said this on the podcast, and it's fine. Because it'll probably turn into a thing, and I don't want it to, but everybody that meets me says that I look and act like Jack Black. I don't know why. I don't see any resemblance. I'm a big dude with a beard and, dark hair that's getting not as dark. Anyway, getting old sucks. Anyway, and so they were all like, oh, it's Jack Black's brother, and just how people are. They weren't hating on me at all. They were like, this is so cool, blah blah blah. So then we got into the whiskey, and I know this is what makes this podcast, this episode about whiskey. So like I said, I did a Texas lineup for them. Super cool, super fun. Like I said, these guys aren't whiskey guys. Like they, everybody has drank whiskey in the past, right? They're, done shots or whatever. But these guys, they're like, we like mixed drinks, or he drinks beer, he'll drink like a old fashioned or something like that. So they have a little bit of knowledge of it, just not, I'm giving it to them straight up, we're going, balls deep in it. So I was like, okay, so I started them off with Still Austin, bourbon out of Austin, obviously, and they liked it, but okay, here's the deal. For one, it was 9:30 in the morning, right? So drinking whiskey that early in the morning is can be a little intense, and the whiskey was like 47%, so it wasn't like knock your socks off. I tried not to pick ones that would knock your socks off. And it's a little lighter, a little fruitier. So I thought it would be a good work-in. So I kind of talked to him about how to drink it, because if you don't know how to drink whiskey, you're going to drink it wrong. Now, there's no wrong way, right, to drink whiskey. You drink whiskey how you want to drink it, the way you want to drink it. But you can burn your palate out and be screwed for the rest of the tasting if you don't do it right. And so I was kind of walking them through that, and they were like, man, that was good. I got something off of it, blah, blah, blah. So, cool. So we're doing that for 10 or 15 minutes. And like I said, they're they're a opinion-based podcast. So they talk about current events and stuff like that. And, there's been a bunch of current events. I don't think we talked about one current event, which in one hand was really cool, because like I said, I'm not political. I don't have a bias. I have a personal bias, but that's for me. That's not for anybody else. I try not to post it. I try not to, say my 2 cents, because I don't care, but I enjoy their show because I see sides of different things, and I listen to it and use my discernment and, stuff like that. So it's really cool to hear, because I don't, listen to the news and stuff like that either. So hearing a side, not that it's the only side, but hearing a side is kind of, it's good for me to hear. And I respect these guys' opinion, after listening to them for so long. And we didn't say one lick about anything other than the whiskey, or we went off on a couple tangents about things, but it was not current event based, which was excellent. So we finished the first one, and they were like, yeah, now I'm rocking, now let's go. And I'm like, all right, cool. So then the second whiskey I poured for them was Balcones Pot Still, which is Balcones is out of Waco, Texas. And their pot still bourbon is amazing, and it's really reasonable. Around me, you can get it for $26 to $30 for a 46% alcohol bourbon that's really good, really oily and viscous. And they really liked that. They really did. They could tell the difference, the complexity, the stuff like that. Obviously, when you're learning whiskey in the beginning, and I'm still learning too. Shout out Justin Whaley. Still learning. I'm still learning at this as well. So there's whiskeys that I haven't had that I want to try, and I'm still trying to develop my palate for other ones. I to this day, and I've tried quite a few, I have a difficult, I'm not going to say hard, it's not hard for me, a difficult time with rye whiskey. Because there's some of the spicier notes and stuff like that perceive to me as off-putting sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes. It's a situational thing that for me, sometimes I'll try, what's the one I just finished? Oh, it was Still Austin Rye. I just finished it, and I would take a small dram of it and drink it. And I'm like, man, that's really good. I like that a lot. And then a week later, whatever, I would have another, and I'm like, no, I can't do this. No. Now I put it in a cocktail and it was fine. But anyway, so your palate's changing and stuff like that. So for these guys, I'm gonna call them whiskey noobs. These whiskey noobs to come in here and be like, I'm getting like a cherry and a dark chocolate and stuff like that. And I'm like, perfect. That's awesome. That's what I want. That's what I want you guys to get. I want you guys to, to get these flavors, because they're in there. It's perceived, but they are in there. So, but yeah. Then we went through that one, and it was really fun. And then the third whiskey we did, I thought they weren't gonna like. And it broke my prejudice of this whiskey forever. and that's hard for me to say, because it literally, I thought that they were going to think it was too tannic, too harsh, too much for them. And that was Garrison Brothers Small Batch. I've tried Garrison Brothers in the past, and I did not prefer it. I did not like it. multiple times actually. And I just didn't like it. And I was like, what in the world? Is it something wrong with me? I don't know what it was. But I don't know if it was because of the situation, like I said, or the lineup that we had before, or what it was. But I was like, oh, wow. Now, again, not my 100% flavor profile. It was a little grassy for me. It was a little, not bitey. It was a little tannic for me. Um, but like it was good. Like I enjoyed it, and they all were like, "Oh, this one is awesome. Yeah, no, I definitely get these notes, and it's like a dark, like a steep coffee and this and that." And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, you guys are right. That's awesome." Like they're so new at this, which they probably their palates are a lot more lively, whereas mine's been dulled a little bit from um, drinking more whiskey, and that's why we take breaks. We do what they call dry weeks, and I try not to, you know, uh, try not to drink during the week and stuff like that, just to make sure that my palate is at its prime. Um, so yeah, that was really cool. I was really impressed by that. Still don't like that the bottle's $100. That sucks. But I will definitely be giving Garrison a second shot. Changed my mind. Changed my mind. And I'm not ashamed to say that I was wrong. I was wrong about Garrison. And I officially, Dan Garrison, if you're listening, hopefully you are. I don't know. Dan Garrison, if you're listening, I apologize. And I have in the past on different Facebook posts and stuff said that I didn't like your products, and I apologize for that because maybe I got a bad bottle. I don't know. Anyway, moving on. So then after that, we did one, and I haven't talked to y'all about this one either because it's coming up on an episode later. But you'll get a little sneaky peek. Here we go. The next one was Oak and Eden, which if you guys are in America especially, you're going to be able to find this bottle. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about when you see it because it actually has a piece of oak inside the bottle. They put a piece of white oak inside the bottle, and a lot of them are like flavored differently. And so I went to oakandeden.com, and I made my own profile. I was able to go in there and pick the whiskey. I picked a 4-grain whiskey, which means corn, wheat, barley, and rye. Has all 4. And then I was able to pick the stave that went in it. I did a French oak stave and the finish that the stave had. So I put it in blackberry brandy. Yeah, first. And then it went into the whiskey. And they said it needs to sit for 2 to 3 months. Well, it had sit for almost that, I was like, it's fine. And I was able to inscribe the whiskey shaman on it. So I was like, cool. That's probably as close to a single barrel pick as I'm gonna get, especially without having a bunch of money or something. So I was like, cool. So I took that. I hadn't even tried it. I really hadn't, because I was trying to let that oak stave mature, but I wanted to let them know. And Oak and Eden is a Texas distillery, but they are sourcing their whiskey from Indiana. Not a problem. On the back it says sourced from Indiana, bottled and stave inserted in Texas. Now, stave inserted doesn't have a connotation to make it Texas whiskey, so it can't be certified Texas. But either way, MGP, which is where they got the whiskey from, makes great whiskey. So it's going to be a good whiskey no matter what. So we tried that, but the issue with that one is it was 57% alcohol. So they didn't care for it because it was spicy and hot and burning and, all those things that cask strength whiskeys are, which I love. I love a good cask strength whiskey, but at the same time, it was hot. It was hot to trot for them. And so they were like, I get the blackberry, and I got a little bit of it as well. I got the blackberry. I got the wheat. The wheat kind of softened it. That's normally what it does. Gives it a little smoother mouthfeel and stuff like that. But it was the blackberry or because French oak gives like a spiciness to it. Not spice as in like hot, but spice is like how a cinnamon would give spice, almost like a savory spice, and sometimes it can bitter it a bit. So I was hoping that the bittering of it would amplify the sweetness, because salt is a accelerant as well as a sugar. So I was hoping it would accentuate, some of that blackberry character in there. So I told them, I said, I think this needs to sit for longer, which I do. I'm glad they got to try it, and I'll tell you in a minute, how that went. But I then let them, and the reason I'm telling you all this about the Pardon My American and not about the Distillers Talk and the If You Have Ghosts is because I don't know if you guys are going to be able to hear this one. You know what I mean? You can go to Pardon My American and see if it's on there, and I'm going to talk to them about it because I know a lot of people that I know want to listen to it, But anyway, so I'm kind of giving you guys the thing, but I'm not going into the details. And I will tell you, if you do listen to it, it is explicit. They are men, and they say the strangest things. I don't. At some points, I was just shaking my head. Anyway, it was a lot of fun. But anyway, they didn't really care for that one. They liked it. They said it was good. They said it was hot and it needed more time, which I agree. So Oak and Needham was probably their least favorite. So then, we did a lot of whiskeys. And I was barely pouring them any, probably enough for 2 baby sips, you know what I mean? Because for one, it was by this point 10 o'clock in the morning, and we still had to get work done that day. So I was like, okay, this is the last whiskey, and the comments were going crazy about all these different bottles that. Then we started talking about Kentucky bourbons and stuff like that, and all the different things that you can find. And people were talking about allocated bottles and bottles you can't get no more and stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, that sucks. And it's one of those things. That's why I try to push craft and stuff like that. And it's getting even harder to find craft stuff too. So it's, you just get what you can get when you can get it, I guess. So it was really, really fun talking to everybody. And then the last whiskey we did, which if you listen to episode 3, you're going to know that I am a fanboy for Andalusia whiskey out of Blanco, Texas. Here we go. And I did their Striker. And so their Striker is a smoked whiskey, which they have a smoke shed in the back, and they smoke their grain. And this one is smoked with oak, mesquite, and apple wood, all 3. And they smoke it, and then they use a percentage of that grain. They don't use the whole thing. They use a percentage of that grain and put it into their mash. And it follows all the way through the finish of the barrel, sitting in a barrel for like 3 years. It goes all the way through. Okay. I told them, I said, before I handed it to them, I was like, you guys like Texas barbecue, right? And they're like, hell yeah, we like Texas barbecue. And I said, well, this is Texas barbecue in a glass. And I slammed the bottle down, and it was the same bottle that I used when I was at the Andalusia chili cook-off, because I put some of the Striker in the chili and one of the Texas Red. So I think it was all the whiskey. It didn't have anything to do with my cooking ability, because that was like the first time I'd ever cooked chili. So whatever, it is what it is. But I'm glad to win, and it was fun, and we had a good time. My son was able to go with me, and we had a great time. So anyway, besides that, so I gave them a pour of that. And now Andalusia, they only make single malt, so everything that they make is only barley. But they use different types of barley, but it's only barley. So you don't get any of that corn dustiness. You don't get any of that rice spice. You don't get any wheat. You don't get any oats. All the different things that are in there. So it's a little more malty, a little more funky, kind of beer-like in some ways. But obviously this one being smoked, you're like, whoa. But the smoke on it, like I said, is like a barbecue smoke, like a good slow smoked offset pit, Goldie's Barbecue, Franklin's Barbecue, Leroy and Lewis. I'm just going to tag everybody. You know, yeah, all those guys that are making great barbecue. You come to my house, you can get some too. But I don't smoke as much as I must meat as I should. But they loved it. They said it was amazing, and it made me so happy. Because me letting other people try whiskeys that I really, really love makes my heart happy. Because, for one, I'm promoting the brands I want to promote. And for two, I'm getting people out into understanding I love the big brands. Don't get me wrong. Wild Turkey is one of my favorite. Evan Williams Bottled and Bond is probably one of my favorites. I love big brand. But these craftier, especially Texas guys, is who I'm going to support, you know. And to have somebody that's like, hey, I love this. This is awesome. It really, it makes me feel good because I know how much work they've put into it, you know, and how much money they've had to spend to have it sit in that barrel for that long. And it's nice to have people actually appreciate it for what it is. And by that time, they were like, man, I get so much out of this. You have changed my mind on whiskey. And look, I'm gonna tell you right now, I am no whiskey expert. I can't even talk. Obviously, I'm not a linguist either. I am no whiskey expert. I just am a guy who's passionate about whiskey, and I'm passionate about the things, the process and stuff like that. So, and when somebody tells me that I've changed their perception of whiskey, I did my job. That was my job, and I did it. And it makes me feel so good. And I can tell you now, going on this podcast, doing the thing with these guys, and then the episodes I did with Alan Bishop, and there's going to be more in the future. I have been so blessed. I'm bringing it back home, guys. I have been so blessed in this journey, in this whiskey shaman journey. I have had people call me for whiskey tastings. I've done wedding receptions. I've done events for people. I have been able to talk to people that I would have never talked to before, and hang out with people and express my love of whiskey in a way that is non-snobby, not condescending, and in a way to where they can enjoy whiskey better. If you need to shoot your whiskey, do it. I don't care. But that's no way to enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not sitting here trying to get drunk. I'm sitting here trying to enjoy stuff and live that life. Live the life of abundance. You know what I mean? And so I can't express to the people who have had me on already my gratitude and my humbleness in knowing that you guys didn't have to bring me on your show. I'm a lowly plumber from the middle of Texas. You don't have to have me on your show. And you did. And I'm not going to say it has changed my life, but it has changed my perception of what I'm doing in this whiskey field. You know what I mean? If this is what I'm meant to do, is talk to you about it and talk to you about my experiences with it, I'm happy with that, man. I'm happy with that. So, Pardon My American. And on Instagram, they're Pardon My American Pod or podcast. I should have looked. I'm sorry. Great guys. Again, opinion based. So take that for what it is. Might not be up some people's alley, just depending, on which way you stand. But it doesn't matter. Good people, and I think that's a lot of what I was trying to get across. Is like, I agree with a lot of their process and a lot of their things that they say, but it's not about that. When I'm talking whiskey, you be whoever you are. don't bring your politics and your agenda or whatever that is into that, right? And so far, I've had nothing but good results. So, yeah, I mean, it's been an amazing journey, and I thought it very fitting to just kind of talk about this and let y'all know that no matter what you believe in, who you believe in, keep pushing forward on your dreams and goals, and keep looking forward. Don't look back. Don't ever look back. Keep looking forward, and eventually you'll see the fruits of your labor and the fruits of what your God, your Jesus, your whoever brings you. You'll see the fruits and trust. And I can't even tell you the amount of gratitude that I have for being able to do what I do on a daily basis and talk to you guys and talk to other distillers and other people in the whiskey industry and people not in the whiskey industry that just want to talk to me about whiskey, and I just really appreciate it, and it's so much fun, and this has only opened a doorway for me to solidify what I'm doing is right? So, I mean, we can only look up, and I try to be 1% better than I was the day before. 1%, because eventually, guess what? You get to 100. I mean, it might take a while, but you try to change one thing a day, a bad habit, a bad thing, and move forward from there. And it's really cool to see the fruits of the labor. And I try to be a very humble person and not take compliments. I don't take compliments and praise very well, but the fact that people like what I do and follow me and subscribe to things and and please, hey guys, if you're out there listening, go, I put a poll up in Spotify, just click on it, say yes or no if you're into this sort of stuff. Message me on Instagram, my Facebook page, whatever. Just kind of reach out to me and let me know if you're digging it or not. And not saying I'm going to change, or if there's a topic you want to talk about or you want me to talk about, just let me know. I want this to be an open forum to where we can kind of talk. And once I start getting guests on here, I want to know what you guys think of the guests and stuff like that. So and then who knows where this is going to lead. So I really appreciate everybody's time. I know you guys could be doing whatever you want, but you're listening to me rabble on about all the things that I've been blessed with. And I hope you all are blessed. And no matter what you believe, I hope you have a joyous Passover, Easter, spend time with family, the people you love, hug them, love them, because you never know how long they're going to be around. So as always, guys, you can find me at the underscore. I had to use the underscore because somebody took the Whiskey Shaman. It's stupid. It pisses me off. But the underscore Whiskey Shaman, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and podcast. So, and I'm whiskeybusinessfbg.com if you want to schedule a tasting. I'm going to do a promo for Father's Day, so be on the lookout for that. If you're in the Texas Hill Country, okay? 100-mile radius of Fredericksburg, okay? So I'm not trying to go to Dallas, and you better be ready to open the checkbook if I got to go that far, okay? I love you guys, and as always, keep your spirits up.